set. And let's look up while we're at this magnification. We can look up and see some smaller vessels that are here. This now is a smaller artery, and this is probably an arteriole that you see right here, because you can see just a single layer of muscle cells around that, and then there'll be a endothelial cell there. This now has probably 3 or 4 layers of smooth muscle cells around it, and so this is now is a small artery as well. This down here would be a small vein. You can see that it doesn't have its lumen, so it's pushed down. It's not as clear, and so you can just then move around and see another one of these in other places. So now we want to find a capillary, and remember, a capillary is it's going to be circular, and usually you'll see it with the nucleus. And let me see if I can find one. I found it on this slide in my office this morning, but a lot of them, but it's really hard to see them with this crappy microscope that I have right now. Oh, sorry. This is going to be this could be an arteriole right here. You can see you can see probably 1 layer of smooth muscle cells around that, and that would kind of give you an idea about the approximate size. It's going to be a little bit smaller than that, but you won't see the prominent smooth muscle cell dimensions as you do in that particular one. Okay, and some of these you just have to look on your scope. I mean, they're going to be like, for example, this size right here, and I don't know whether that could be one, but that's what you're going to be looking at essentially. And it usually will show 1 nucleus, and then if you look carefully, you'll be able to see that the cytoplasmic arms that reach around and touch one another.
So tiny.
So there's one that's right. This is not a capillary, but that's probably could be a small venule, because it's hard to tell some of these things, and so especially if you don't have a really pretty good clear image as to what it is, but you should be able to tell the difference between venules and arterioles and arteries and veins without any problem at all. Okay, and this is a really good slide to sort of show those different and there's so many of them in each of these in this slide, in the connective tissue. There's so many, so it won't matter. You can go now. This one, you don't want to get confused here. Now, if you look at this particular vessel right here, that's not an artery, because if you look at the cells, you don't see, these are going to be almost cuboidal-like cells that you see there. This now is a duct, and so you don't want to confuse so you look carefully at these so you don't confuse a duct with a small artery. Okay, so there are lots and lots of ducts around here, and so see, this is another duct. You see this one, and so this is not an artery. You have to look at the cell, look for endothelial cells, and look to make sure that you're looking at the cell type now that's there. Now, there's probably an arteriole is right here. Look right there. You can see how that's located. You can see essentially two smooth muscle cells around that, and that's a small. That's an arteriole. Okay, and so you have to go in and look around like this. Now I'm going to go to another slide and do the same thing. Now see this right here? This right there, that's a duct. Don't confuse that. You can see the cuboidal cells that are around that. So that's the one thing you want to be careful about, that you get a real recognition of sort of what's an artery and what's a duct. Okay. All right, I'm going to go to the next slide.